Obi-Wan Kenobi knew that the mission of training Anakin Skywalker would not be easy. Since the death of his master Qui-Gon, the weight of responsibility had become a constant shadow in his mind. Qui-Gon believed that Anakin was the chosen one, but how could he be sure that he was following the right path? In search of answers, Obi-Wan decided to devote more time to the archives of the Jedi Order. He believed that the knowledge accumulated over the millennia could provide the necessary directions to guide the young Skywalker. To ensure that Anakin also learned as much as possible, Obi-Wan suggested that they study together. In the vast corridors of the Jedi Library, the master and apprentice scoured texts and holocrons in search of any clue that might reveal the Chosen One's true destiny. During these frequent visits to the archives, something unexpected happened. In a restricted section of the library, Obi-Wan stumbled across an old holocron. Curiosity, ever present in his nature, made him pick it up, even though he knew he shouldn't have. Hesitant, he pondered whether or not to open the device, as its contents could be dangerous. However, before he could decide, Jocasta Nu, the guardian of the archives, appeared by surprise. Although she was aware of the importance of Obi-Wan and Anakin's studies, she made a point of warning the Jedi about the dangers of exploring information that could be beyond their control. Obi-Wan reluctantly put the holocron away again, but the desire to uncover its secrets remained with him. Meanwhile, an emergency required Obi-Wan's presence outside the Jedi Temple. The Jedi Council summoned him for a mission of great importance, and he had no choice but to leave. However, before leaving, Obi-Wan instructed Anakin to continue his studies alongside Jocasta Nu. The librarian's wisdom and experience would be invaluable to the young Jedi. Anakin, somewhat frustrated at not being able to accompany his master on the mission, accepted the task. Under Jocasta's guidance, he delved even deeper into the vast knowledge of the Jedi Order, absorbing every detail, especially about the mysterious prophecy of the Chosen One. In the days that followed, Anakin and Jocasta's studies focused on the prophecy. They debated what it meant to be the Chosen One and what the implications of such a title were. Jocasta, with her vast experience, offered a balanced view of the Sith, the sworn enemies of the Jedi. Although little was known about them, what was in the records painted a bleak picture. For Anakin, the quest to understand the dark side was personal. He felt an undeniable attraction to this side of the Force and wanted to understand why. But with Jocasta's help, he also learned about the dangers of following this path, reinforcing the need for self-control and balance. Throughout his studies with Jocasta Nu, Anakin began to see in her more than just a mentor. Her wisdom and patience made him feel welcomed in a way he hadn't experienced since the loss of his mother. Jocasta, with her motherly attitude, saw the emotional wounds that Anakin carried. In deeper conversations, she helped him revisit his painful memories, not to suppress his feelings, but to understand them and turn them into strength. This support was crucial for Anakin to come to terms with the trauma of his childhood and, over time, he began to overcome the weight of the pain his loss had caused him. At the same time, Jocasta guided him in understanding the Chosen One's prophecy. She encouraged him to question not only the texts, but also his own interpretations. In his studies of the prophecy, Anakin encountered complexity. It wasn't as simple as the destruction of the Sith or the triumph of the light side. Jocasta encouraged him to see the prophecy as a multifaceted puzzle, where balance meant more than defeating enemies. She believed that the Chosen One should bring harmony to the Force, uniting light and dark, something that echoed Anakin's inner experiences. During his readings on the dark side, Anakin came to understand that it wasn't just an external force. The dark side, according to the ancient texts, existed within all beings. Jocasta taught him that the key to not being corrupted lay not in ignoring these dark emotions, but in recognizing them and learning to control them. This approach made Anakin begin to accept that his fear and anger were not weaknesses, but natural parts of himself that he needed to learn to master. With each new study, he felt better prepared to deal with the temptation of the dark side. Over time, Anakin's studies of prophecy and the dark side helped him to see his own destiny more clearly. He realized that in order to be the true Chosen One, he would first need to understand the dark side in its entirety. Jocasta, always firm in her guidance, helped Anakin chart a safe path through this dangerous field of knowledge. Thanks to her, Anakin no longer felt at the mercy of his emotions. He came to see balance as a constant journey, where understanding light and dark would make him not only a more powerful Jedi, but a complete being capable of fulfilling his role in the galaxy. The real test for Anakin came during the tragic attack on the Jedi Temple, the moment Order 66 was activated. Seeing the clones, who had previously fought alongside the Jedi, turn their weapons against their allies, Anakin was overcome with a sense of despair. He quickly mobilized to protect the young Padawans and the most vulnerable Jedi, fighting with all his might against the soldiers invading the temple. Every step he took through the sacred corridors was a battle for survival, with explosions and blasters echoing off the walls. Chaos was everywhere, and Anakin's anguish grew as he saw his companions falling. However, even with all his skill and power in the Force, Anakin couldn't stop the devastation from spreading. For every young Padawan he managed to save, another fell into the hands of the ruthless clones. Despite his best efforts, the massacre at the temple seemed inevitable. Amidst this scene of destruction, Anakin was pushed to the limit of his physical and emotional capabilities. He knew that if he didn't do something more, all would be lost. His heart was torn between anger and sadness, and he felt the dark side whispering in his ears, urging him to give in to frustration. But at that moment, Anakin chose to resist. It was at this point that Palpatine revealed his true face. The Sith Lord himself appeared at the Jedi Temple, determined to eliminate Anakin once and for all. The confrontation between the two was intense, with Palpatine using his dark powers to try and bend Anakin's will. The fight between them spread throughout the main hall of the temple, with lightsabers slicing the air and sparks of Force energy dancing around. Although Anakin was a formidable Jedi, he was exhausted from previous battles and could not match Palpatine's dark power. In a moment of weakness, Anakin was struck down, and the Sith's victory seemed imminent. However, when all seemed lost, Jocasta unexpectedly appeared. With precise strategy and unwavering courage, she struck a decisive blow against Palpatine, interrupting his plans and saving Anakin's life. The shock of the lightning victory over the Sith brought a heavy silence to the devastated temple. Jocasta, with her serene presence, helped Anakin to his feet and, at that moment, the impact of the experience weighed heavily on his shoulders. He had been tested like never before, but he had survived, thanks to the intervention of his mentor. The battle changed him forever, reinforcing the need for constant vigilance against the forces of the dark side. After Palpatine's defeat, Anakin knew it was time to present his findings to the Jedi Council. He had gathered a considerable amount of information about the prophecy and the dark side of the Force. With the support of Jocasta, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, Anakin developed specific training for the Chosen One, something that had never been done before. He proposed a new approach which included a deeper understanding of the balance between light and dark. The Council was impressed by his clarity and vision, and Anakin felt more confident than ever in his role within the Order. Recognition of his growth and maturity finally came when the Jedi Council appointed him Jedi Master. For Anakin, this was a title he had long desired, but now, instead of arrogance, he accepted it with humility and responsibility. He knew that being a master meant more than just power. It was about guiding others and serving the Order wisely. This new position also brought him even closer to his fellow Jedi, and over time he became a mentor to the young apprentices, passing on his lessons with patience and dedication. Over the years, Anakin finally became the chosen one that everyone had predicted. His power in the Force was unparalleled, but more importantly, he found a way to balance the light and darkness within himself. Anakin developed new techniques for dealing with the dark side, teaching the Jedi that the key was not to repress their emotions, but to understand and control them. He achieved a level of mastery over the Force that no one before him had ever achieved, and this wisdom was shared with the entire Jedi Order. As he deepened his studies of the dark side, Anakin began to understand that true balance in the Force involved accepting his deepest emotions without repressing them. Jocasta helped him realize that ignoring or trying to suppress these emotions would only strengthen their influence over him. On the contrary, recognizing and consciously integrating them would allow him to maintain control. This new approach allowed Anakin to distance himself from the rigid view that many Jedi had of the dark side, which saw these emotions as something that should be completely avoided. Anakin, now more aware of his own flaws and fears, saw that the balance lay in accepting these emotions without letting them define his actions. Acceptance of his emotions did not, however, mean giving in to them. Anakin learned from Jocasta that although fear and anger were natural parts of the human experience, they should not be the guide to his decisions. The secret lay in feeling these emotions, but choosing the path of wisdom and light, turning them into fuel for his constructive actions. Repression would only create an internal monster, which could emerge in moments of weakness. This new understanding helped him deal better with his own impulses, standing firm even in the face of the dark side's greatest temptations. As Anakin delved deeper into this journey of self-discovery, he came to see the Chosen One's prophecy in a new light. It wasn't just about defeating the dark side, but understanding its nature and thus finding the balance between light and darkness within himself. With Jocasta's constant support, he realized that true strength came from the harmony between these two opposing forces. It was this inner balance that would enable him to fulfill his destiny as the Chosen One. With each new revelation, Anakin felt that he was better prepared to face what was to come. In the end, this journey of acceptance and understanding transformed Anakin in profound ways. He not only became more powerful but also wiser. The idea of balance, which had previously seemed abstract, was now part of his essence. Anakin knew that, in order to guide the galaxy to a better future, he would need to keep walking between the light and the dark, keeping both sides in perfect balance within himself. This understanding not only saved him from the corruption of the dark side, but also transformed him into the leader that the Jedi Order and the galaxy needed. Finally, with the support of the Jedi Council, Anakin led a complete reform of the Order. The new generation of Jedi, guided by his teachings, was different from the previous one. Now, the emphasis was on balance, both internal and external. Anakin transformed the Order into something more comprehensive, where Jedi were encouraged to explore all facets of the Force, without fear of getting lost in the dark side. With wisdom and balance, he led the Jedi Order into a new era, leaving a legacy that would last for generations.